So, good morning to everybody. It's a bright day, and today on our Business Owner Spotlight is Mr. Paul Kirwan from GCS Consulting. Paul, you're very welcome. Good morning to you.
Tom, how are you doing? How's things? Are you doing well?
Living the dream. Everything's fantastic. So, our audience here is made up of lots of business owners from all sorts of different sectors. So, tell us, what is it you do, Paul, and how long have you been doing it?
So I'm director in Ireland of GCS Consulting since around 2019. We established the entity then in Ireland when I joined forces with my business partner, Shmuel, who's based in Israel, who has a company over there doing very similar services. So I suppose what GCS do and what I do is we provide project cost control and project accounting consultancy and managed services for larger companies who are investing pretty large sums of money in capital investment projects. We work primarily with owners, as we're kind of our niche areas really, that we integrate the project cost control side of things as well as the asset accounting together, which is kind of beneficial to companies of that size.
Right. And so tell me, just give us an idea, what sort of sectors would be the kind of ideal kind of target market for you?
So really anyone who's kind of spending $20 million plus on projects. I talk in dollars, so multinationals are generally kind of one of the main clients that we look at. So if you're thinking pharma, life sciences, data centers, advanced technology, any sort of big infrastructure type of projects, they're the type of companies that would find our services useful. Something like housing or office developments, there's probably less of a demand for what we do in that area. So it's kind of real heavy construction.
So pharma, top-end commercial construction, maybe medical, obviously the pharma sector,
yeah.
Automotive, aerospace, all that sort of.
Absolutely, any of those kind of complex projects that tends to be a lot of kind of moving parts and a lot of change involved. Kind of what we look at, the main thing we do is kind of simplifying the complexity of around the costs and providing really good reporting to senior management so that they can make the appropriate decisions to kind of keep projects on track. Yeah.
Fantastic. So back in 2019, along came COVID. What happened? What changes did you have to make because of that?
Do you know what? We the main change we had to do, similar to a lot of companies, moving to the working from home model, which was kind of untested at the time, but I suppose when we did move there, we actually realised the benefits of it and that it actually really worked quite well. And we also had a good few people start new, because I suppose our main projects that we're working on at the minute really ramped through COVID. There was no real let up. In fact, it was growing. So we had to take on a lot of people through COVID, start them at home. A lot of people started with us and never met any of their team for maybe 18 months. So it wasn't until we did our Christmas party in March that people actually met up for the first time. So so really working from home was the big one, and just trying to keep the team together through COVID in a kind of virtual environment.
The different type of management then that you have to put in place. But I think COVID for a lot of businesses actually expedited and it made us change.
Yes.
For the good, which is really good. So you got a positive result from that. So tell me, since you became a business owner, Paul, what's the biggest learning that you have got?
I think the biggest learning you get is probably around trusting people, trusting the staff to kind of take on, trusting your team to take on responsibility around different things. I think as business owners, you tend to think that no one can do something as well as you can do it. So trying to release people, trying to release kind of some of that workload from yourself onto the people who are more than capable to do it, to give them opportunities to grow as well is very important.
Learning, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and we're still at a size where we're kind of day to day, I'm kind of hands-on on the jobs as well. And in order to kind of allow yourself to work on the business a bit more, you need to kind of, I suppose, empower the people around you to kind of take on some of the scope. And because we all, as I said, we all tend to think we can do things best, but quite often it's not the case.
Yeah, you're using a lot of terms and terminologies that we use in our coaching, and I suspect that you may have been coached at some stage.
I did a little bit before. I found it quite good just to kind of just in general to kind of just get the kind of put structure around everything you're doing.
Yes.
Trying to balance between the home life and work life and all the things. Just balance is what it's all about.
Yeah, isn't you're saying all the right thing? I didn't pay him to say this, guys. It's just So tell me, what have you learned most about yourself, Paul, along your journey to date?
Yeah, I probably just give you a sneak peek into it. I probably through 2019 into 21, it wasn't until 22 I probably realized the need for kind of managing the energy levels and the balance, personal balance, around trying to kind of make sure there's enough of a balance between the business and work side of things, and also the home life. Where I've 3 small kids, trying to spend time with them, trying to spend time with my wife. They're the more important things that you kind of have to maybe get to a point where you're kind of really busy in work, and then you kind of realize that, oh, hang on a minute, I actually need to kind of refocus things and reorganize things a little bit to make sure that you kind of are focusing on the things that are important. And that's kind of family and friends, and making sure you're making enough time for all those things, and your health as well is probably one of the big things, because I think as business owners, we're probably all very driven in terms of wanting to achieve certain goals, but I suppose you kind of need to check yourself at what cost. It's important to kind of achieve balance, kind of the word I try to always use to re-baseline myself.
Yeah, I think that's very important to be aware of that and to try and strive to get a balance, because otherwise if you dip one way too much and the other way too much, it comes out of kilter and it does affect the results at the end of the day.
Absolutely.
That's really good advice for a lot of people there. So tell me, what does the future look like for GCS Consulting, and what do you see as potentially the main challenges?
I think future-wise, we're going to continue to try and look at working with more clients in kind of the industries that I described, trying to get out there and kind of meet more people in terms of trying to develop our client base. I think we're given strong consideration at the moment as well. We've a kind of an internal training program that we do, and maybe offering that out to some of our clients as well, because what we're starting to see, I should say, in the project controls area is that, similar to a lot of industries, everyone's just so busy that they don't have the time to actually invest in training of the staff. So I've seen it myself, where you're just so busy doing things that it's hard to actually train the people you have. So maybe if we can fill some of those gaps for people, where we can give that project cost control 101 to their staff, to give them the step up, that they're more useful quicker to people, rather than having to start at the basics, that we can kind of give them a leg up. Challenges wise, talent is a huge one at the moment. I think everyone's the same. It's very hard to find people at the minute, and it's just because the industry we're in is so busy. Everyone is kind of gainfully employed, and everything's going gangbusters. So it's just there is a challenging talent market out there at the minute. I think there's lots of talent out there. It's just trying to get those people to come and work.
You're not the only one, I can tell you. I think most of our viewers and listeners here today will know that recruitment is a huge challenge.
Yes.
It's not a problem, but it's a challenge for everybody, as you say, because we're nearly at zero unemployment. Well, 4 or 5%, which is considered zero.
Yeah.
But I think everyone has that. So that means something's got to change, and we got to be able to entice and attract the people that we want to come work for us. But it sounds to me like, from what you're saying, that you are developing a culture in there, which includes training and bringing teams on and getting them to grow as well, which I think is a good enticement for people to want to work with you. So that's a really good, good learning there. So, Paul, what would you say to anybody thinking of going into business?
Good question. I would say, first of all, just do it. Just get out there and do it. I think, depending on the type of business you're trying to get involved in, if you can dip your toe in the waters first, be it to do a bit of consultancy on the side, or if you're a product-driven business, to do it as a kind of a bit of a side hustle for a while, but do something. I think, what's the expression? Action gives information. So if you do something, you get a better idea of what might work. So by doing something, you'll give yourself an idea of whether your business concept is actually going to potentially work for you. But I think just get out there and do it.
I love that. Nike.
Don't be scared of it.
Action. And again, I didn't coach this guy's action coach. He's I'm using all the right words here, Paul. This is great. So tell me, just two little more questions I want to ask you. If you started your business again, and granted it's only 2 years ago, is there anything you'd do differently?
I think everything that we kind of planned hasn't really happened as we've planned it because of COVID and the different things that were going on when we actually kind of got the business up and running. I don't think there's a whole lot we do differently. I think there's probably the learning I've had is probably in the first 2 or 3 years is that you can plan to a certain extent, but you kind of got to leave a business naturally kind of find its own path as well, and kind of listen to your customers and what they need. Mm-hmm. Probably be more open. Don't be so rigid in terms of a plan, in terms of you have to hit these figures or gain these customers, because quite often the customer you have is far better for your business than gaining new customers, if you get me. That's sometimes we're all always kind of growth focused, but sometimes the growth can be right there in front of you if you kind of stick with the good customers that you have. So,
but also doing the right thing with the customers you have is very important to keep them and retain them and that sort of thing. So
don't take your eye off the ball.
But you still got, as you say, you mentioned the word plan. You still have to have a plan of some sort. Otherwise, we're just in reactive mode as against proactive mode. Excellent. So, last little question I want to ask you: what is the best advice, Paul Kirwan, that you would give to an 18-year-old you?
I would say probably, I'd say be braver in terms of my decisions to kind of follow my kind of instincts around trying to want to get into business and do my own thing. Don't wait as long as you did. I think that probably timing wise, I probably would have done something a bit sooner than I did it. But I do think that my past and the work I did all informed me on what the business was going to be. So I think that we'll say 10 years work that I would have done before I even started considering doing my own thing was all valuable to inform what I was going to end up doing. So, but I would say probably if I was back again, maybe do something sooner.
And be a bit braver. I like that.
Be brave and give it a go.
Paul, fantastic. Thank you so much for your time today. Great to get to know a bit more about you, and wishing you every success in the future in the growth of GCS Consulting. If you want to know more about this, go to gcsconsulting.
Globalcostsolutions.com. It's easy.
Globalcostsolutions.com.
Yeah, that's what GCS stands for.
There we go. Global Cost Solutions, guys, and you can have a chat with Paul. Paul, thank you so much indeed. Have a great day, and thanks for taking part in our little interview today.
Thank you, Tom. Appreciate it.